Are we live, Jeff? Did we not get ourselves our little introduction today?
Yeah, we didn't have an introduction.
I don't know. I think I don't know what to do without an introduction. What do we do?
Oh,
there it is. There it is. There he is. There he is.
There we are.
My sweet cheese boy.
Cheese boy. I remember that.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
Oh, the sweet cheese.
Yeah.
How are you doing today?
Good. Just it is Thursday, thank God. And next week is Father's Day, next Sunday. And what are you doing?
Hopefully something that involves relaxing. That would be ideal for me for Father's Day.
Yeah.
Actually, not doing anything would be the best thing, but I probably will be doing something.
I know. Well, I just found out that my entire family will not be here. Next week. Next weekend.
Is that depressing for you?
I'm going to make it so. I'm going to ride that pony. So we'll see what happens.
It's a good kind of angle on that.
It's my older daughter is going to be in Connecticut with her friend and their family, I guess, celebrating her father and their Father's Day.
Right.
And then I don't see the show. Is the show actually broadcasting live right now, Jeff?
That's a great question.
Because I don't see it on my end. I see that
I'm reloading
Melissa
it in.
here, so something's going on, and Greg is here, so something's going on. Do you see it on your end?
I see people in the comments, but I'm not seeing. Why am I not seeing the show?
The actual broadcast. Huh.
That's kind of concerning.
Well, it's probably because of the subject matter.
We got blocked.
Maybe.
Well, it doesn't even have. It just has share on when I land on the page. It doesn't have join anymore.
Wow. Okay.
Maybe we got banned.
Maybe. So hey, I don't know, Jeff. If you drop a text in there for these folks and see what the story is. I mean, I can always stop this and restart it. Right.
Yeah, maybe we have to do that. I don't know.
Let everybody know I'm going to do that. I don't know if we can do. I don't know if we can do that, but we're going to try.
Yeah. I mean, can we? We can't respond to anybody here, right?
No, you got to do it on that side.
Oh, Rob says we're on.
Oh, are we? Okay.
Yeah.
So Rob, we're talking, and performing. Okay.
Yeah, that's weird.
Well. You know what? We're going to have a conversation. We've never done this before. Are you talking about the show or something else? All right.
We've never done this type of show.
We've only ever done over the shirt stuff. So we've never really done, this before.
That's true.
Yeah. All right. Well, I don't know why it's not running on our end, but I think it's going to be a fun show today. We were going to talk about something I've alluded to multiple times, dragging us way off track. And if there's anybody and anyone in that audience that wants to pop in here and talk to us, we're going to talk about just something that's going on, something I've been obsessed with since I was a kid. We're talking about UFOs, now called UAPs, also USOs, undersea objects, or unidentified submerged objects.
Yes.
Which is another fascinating thing. And anything else paranormal, all the way through the Bigfoots and the portals and the what else, Jeff? The hauntings. I personally,
there's all that weird like Skinwalker Ranch stuff.
Oh my God, yeah. So yeah. All right. Well, I'll tell you. This is how I first remember, and I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying I saw something. I'm not saying, but it's really funny. I have a very distinct memory from when I was probably 6 or 7 years old of sitting out in the backyard of my family home in Newton under the tree with our dog Duke. And I remember just sitting there on a summer day, and I just noticed up in the sky, looked up, and there was a white dot just zipping across the blue sky on its own. And I remember, like, because I had already been to the library and seen like some of the old UFO books, and I'd watched, we were talking earlier about In Search of with Leonard Nimoy.
Yes. Just love that show.
Yeah. And I remember, and it's funny because I can't remember a lot of things, like my high school graduation. No, that whatsoever. Was I there? Don't know. Did I graduate? Apparently. But I don't recall that. But I do recall this very clearly. And over the course of, I think, my life, I just got more and more interested in this subject. And what started out as such a fringe topic, and people didn't talk about it. They thought it were crazy. Today has become exceptionally mainstream. And Greg, you are 100%, I think, correct. At least according to one show, it's all related. I do believe that this is very much related. It may be very different things, but I think there's a relation. There's a lot of connective tissues there. The other side of it is, Jeff, and let me ask you this before we go any further. What's your level of interest? Curiosity? Obviously, I'm on the obsessive side, but what's your interest?
I'm very interested in it, and I'm always interested in anything like with physics and science and that kind of thing. And in terms of like, anything is possible, right? It's all about, like, for me, I don't believe things until they're like fully studied. That's kind of my MO. But I have always been fascinated about UFOs. And then I even got even more fascinated once people started talking about multiverses and things like that. And I'm like, well, this actually makes more sense to me now than it did before, because before it was like, everything was like a wormhole. You go in a wormhole and you come out, whatever. That's how you would be able to achieve those distances. But for me, like on a scientific level, if somebody's taking a photo of something, it's there. What is it? I don't know. I'm not going to speculate what it is, but I believe that these things exist.
And Jeff, for someone like yourself, I've got, now this book's a bit dated, but this was one of my favorites that I read way back in the day. It's called Flying Saucers and Science. It's written by a fellow named Stanton T. Friedman. He was a nuclear physicist.
Yes, I'm familiar with him. Yeah.
Interesting guy. It's a very nuts and bolts physics kind of book. It's definitely not in the woo-woo category or the consciousness area. Oh, absolutely. How do we feel about ghosts? We'll talk about that too. But yeah,
I'll tell you just my quick thing, because I think we've talked about this before. The thing I can't get my head around is, I understand there, again, the belief for me is, until it's proven, it's a good theory or whatever. But in terms of the spirit leaving the person's body, okay. But why do these spirits why are they wearing the clothes that they wore? That's the thing about the ghost things. It's like, why are they wearing a shirt and pants? Why is that even important?
It's a great question. And my understanding of that, Jeff, and I don't know how anybody else feels. I've never seen a ghost, but I have been in the presence of that. something.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're in the presence of it, you fucking know it.
Oh no, see, I believe that more so than I would like somebody seeing a ghost of a soldier in full with their rifle, as though the
Right.
rifle is part of the thing.
If you were to buy into or at least sort of take a leap of faith a little bit into the idea that what Earth's made of, it collects energy. It's like a battery. And when there are, I think, traumatic incidents in certain places, and this may go as far as just what the granite or what level of quartz is in the land or whatever. I think certain energies do get trapped in it, and that's why there's sort of it's like rewinding a cassette tape, and it just plays and it just plays and it just plays.
Yeah, so it's like it's a snapshot.
It's a snapshot, right? It may very well be that.
I can see that angle. It's just that the snapshot wouldn't be interacting with you. That's all. Like it would just be, you would be seeing it like almost like film in front of you.
And so I know we're going to drift a little bit. That's okay. We're going to drift. And I see that Rod made it, because I really wanted Rod to get in here and chat. And I see that, was it Rod, did you live in a haunted house, or was it Rob Unger that lived in a haunted house? Well, if you guys want to pop in here, you can certainly join us. I'll tell you, I went on a trip one time, and this was pre-taking any psilocybin mushrooms. Those came later. We stayed overnight in this home in Shirley, Mass, and it was a couple of hundred years old home. It was a homestead, but it was now a museum, and they had a modern side of the house, which is where we were staying. But I remember in the overnight hours, we heard some noises, and we knew stories about the house itself. And the girl that lived there had grown up there, and she told us a bunch of stories. And in the middle of the night, my friend Jay and I got up, and we kind of cruised downstairs and went over to the other side of the house, which wasn't lit. It was just light from the moon or whatever coming in. And anyway, long story short, we go over to the museum side of the house, and so it was probably built in like the 1600s, mid 1600s. And we heard something behind one of the doors, and we just heard this odd noise. It sounded very, it sounded like something physical in the house, just something creaking. And, of course, we were excited, freaking out a little bit, giddy like school children, and probably a little high.
Probably.
We opened the door, and it was a dining room, an old dining room. Everything was left the way it was back in the day. There was a baby's like a bassinet in the corner,
in the dining room,
rocking. Not like rocked once, like
yes.
We freaking screamed, left that
and you
room.
Left.
We went back in the morning. I checked and was like, maybe she's messing with us. There's a wire or this. Is the window open? Did a breeze blow it? None of that shit was so. And we were like, dude, the thing was, when we went in that room and saw what we saw, you could feel the energy change a lot. It just felt
you got the goose thing.
Not the goose things, but it felt heavy. Rod, if you want to come in and talk about your haunted house. Hey, Abednego, welcome, sir.
Welcome.
We're having an off-road show today where we're just going to talk about some crazy shit just for fun.
I wore my Bermuda hat because we can talk about the Bermuda Triangle maybe.
Yeah, I swam in the Bermuda Triangle once.
Did you?
I did not care for that.
It
wasn't so much that it was the Bermuda Triangle. It's just that it's in the middle of the freaking ocean.
Yeah.
I don't scuba very well. I'm not a strong swimmer. No, I'm an okay swimmer.
My favorite thing is obviously from Close Encounters when the beginning scene when they see the planes just sitting there that got lost in the Bermuda Triangle. I mean that's like there's so many pieces of that movie that I love. that kind of like it's supposed, it kind of like not, oh, this makes sense now. Type of
It's
thing.
funny you mentioning that. There was a character in that movie. He was the French scientist who was in that movie,
Yes.
and that character was based on a fellow named Jacques Vallée. Have you heard of Jacques Vallée?
Yes, I have. Yep.
Yes. I believe he did some work at DARPA, which again, hello. He's also responsible. I believe he is the one of the people, or if not the people, who send the link to Rod, by the way.
Oh yeah.
He's responsible for what was built as the internet. So he's not some schlub crazy person.
No.
To say, so this is one of my, he's got a series of books. I don't know if you can see that there, Forbidden Science. It's a series of books. Now, this series of books dates back to probably, I don't know, the 70s, maybe 60s, but he follows all the information about not just UFOs, but this sort of folklore. He's got another book, which is fantastic, called Road to Magoria, I think, or Magoria. And it's a study of folklore and legend through the centuries and millennia all around the world. So of the wee people and the gentry and the this and the that. And his sort of supposition is that part of this phenomenon is perhaps this trickster element, or there's something here that we've been hearing about for centuries and passed it along, but it's become a joke and nobody believes in it. And what if there's something to it?
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
And the idea is that, we see in a certain scale of light, but everything beyond that still exists. We just don't see it. So what if you've got things that do exist beyond the perceptible view we have, that is everywhere and all around us? The other book that you actually see here, and I'm recommending both of these, the Forbidden Science series is awesome. This one here is called Strange Angel. And again, if you're interested in the subject, this is the story of Jack Parsons. Jeff, I probably have mentioned Jack Parsons to you.
Yes.
Anyone else ever heard of Jack Parsons? I'll give you the quick and the short, and we'll get Rod in here.
Oh yeah, he's in
Jack
the green
Parsons was a like a physics scientist. He was essentially, he is, if not the one of the godfathers of the American rocket program. Head of your Werner von Braun and Operation Paperclip, which we can also.
Are you trying to say that he's not a schlub?
He's no schlub. Well, no, I'm not saying that. Here's the deal. This is what I find is really very interesting. So this Jack Parsons guy, back in the 30s and in the early 40s, mid 40s, was out in California. He was very deep into black magic, Aleister Crowley. He had a pal. What's that guy's name? The guy that started Dianetics.
Oh yes,
L. Ron Hubbard.
L. Ron Hubbard, yes,
science fiction writer L. Ron Hubbard. But he and L. Ron Hubbard, along with a few other people, were pals, and they used to go out to the desert and they used to practice these black magic rituals. And they were trying to contact a entity from another realm that Aleister Crowley had written about. This entity, I believe called Lamb, looks an awful lot like what you'd see today as a modern day gray. I mean, it's uncanny what it looks like.
Weird.
And this is a drawing that was done in maybe the 20s, the 30s, well before the gray folklore ever became a thing. Right. So there's those connections there. But the weird part is what exactly the fuck does the United States rocket program and NASA and the space programs have to do with the occult, magic, and other strange fucked up shit? that's a real big question that nobody asks. There's a correlation, and I'll bring Rod in so we don't make him wait. The correlation between why they name the rockets what they do, often they're Roman or Greek god names, and they launch them on specific dates at specific times in in our celestial calendar, I suppose.
Right.
They're launched with very much intention, and there is a fellow, which we'll get to later, Tim Taylor. Not Tim Taylor, that guy on Secrets of Skinwalker Ranch. He's a whole other story. But this is Dr. Tim Taylor, who is somebody that most people don't know about. And he is a real human being alive today, and he's involved in some pretty wacky shit. But we'll talk about that in a minute. I just want to make sure we say, hey, Rod, what's up? Rod,
hey, guys, how's it going?
You're looking very Jeremy Corbell today, which is appropriate.
Yeah. I just wanted to be sure that I looked familiar to them as, they come down and they're looking for Jeremy Corbell, and they'll just be like.
Very impressed.
Yeah.
Very impressed with the beard. Yeah, I love
Honestly. So what's happening,
thanks,
man?
Guys.
What do you got? I know we've talked about this on and off a little bit here and there. You got anything specific you want to share today, or thoughts, opinions, allegations?
I'm excited to join this show because this is one of those shows that I was like, I have to make it to this. And I was pushing so hard to get a client call done because I was
if you didn't make it, I was honestly gonna kind of switch gears and just do it again. Honestly.
Yeah, good.
It was for you.
Good. No, you guys were talking about ghosts, and that was something that Rob brought up, and I just was like, I actually have a lot of stories of ghost stories. So if we were interested in ghost stories, I'd love to share it.
Give us your top one. Or top two.
I can So when I was a kid, when I was probably kindergarten age, maybe first grade, my room was upstairs across the hall from my mom and dad's room, right? And like every kid, they're always, scared of the dark, whatever. But, the reason that I say that I grew up in a haunted house was because every night when I would go to bed, I would fall asleep. And then I'd be woken up by my alarm clock. And we all probably had back in the 80s that same brick alarm clock that had the radio on it, and it had the manual dial that you would turn to get to your radio station.
Oh, yeah.
So I would wake up in the middle of the night with that radio dial. The radio would turn on, and then the dial would go and just back and forth, and I would watch that physical dial go back and forth and back and forth. Then later my dad had I had to. My parents were just like, it's nothing. It's nothing's going on.
Just a malfunction.
Right? They were just like, you're scared of the dark, whatever, nothing's going on. But then, so years later, probably about 6th grade, my dad had renovated the room in the basement. And so moved down there, and always always creepy feeling down there. Right. So one night and, creepy feeling, I always just, when I go down there, go to bed, I'd shut the door and go to bed. So one night I wake up and, cause I hear the squeak of the door. And the door's around a corner, so I can't see it. So hear the squeak of the door, and I just jolt up, and I see this, shadow walk to the side of my bed, turn, come up this side of the bed, and just stand there looking over me. And it looked like my sister. So I was just like, dude, Lex, if that's you, I'm going to beat you up. And I turn this way to turn on the lamp. There's nobody there.
Mm-hmm.
But then I get up out of my bed and walk over to the door's wide open. And so, and this is just a couple instances. I mean, we had stuff like this all the time growing up. Come to find out later, my brother is like, oh yeah, you've seen the shadow figure.
Oh, you too?
You've seen the shadow
figure. Right. My brother and I are the only ones that see it. Right. My mom, my sister, nobody else sees it. Right.
Yeah.
So then I'm talking to my mom about it my brother and I are talking to my mom about it, and she was like, "Oh, well, the person that owned this house before us, there was a guy and his girlfriend that were living in the room in the basement, and he tried to kill her in that room in the basement." And she was like, "Oh, I don't think he actually killed her, but yeah, we heard about that from the realtor." So,
she doesn't think that he killed her.
I don't know,
dude. That's crazy.
That is
crazy. Well, hey, Rod, you're welcome to stick around and hang out in this room right here with us.
I'll just hang out with you guys then.
Yeah, well, I love that. Let's do it. Let's bring in Gavin, because Gavin's got a story, I believe, or maybe he's just
Gavin.
I don't think I necessarily have a story. I love this subject because I think it's really fascinating, really interesting. I think out of all of the weird kind of like pyramid stuff, the stuff that's really old that we don't really know how old is. When I think of the pyramids, it's like, all right, did humans actually move those blocks? Did they really source those blocks? Because like logistically, you're moving them hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of miles in sand. I just don't know if that's possible.
It is. It's wacky.
It's crazy. And then Machu Picchu is an example too. Like that is thousands of feet in the air up a mountain. And it's just like logistically, how do you push those 10-ton stones that are perfectly cut?
All interlocked, like different shapes.
It's just weird, like
I'm
not discrediting humans. I think there's a way that we can do that, but it's much like us today, like how we plant crops, right? Like if we're to go back 2,000 years and plant thousands and thousands and thousands of acres of corn, and those people fast forward to us, how did, they would ask us the same thing. How did you guys do this with, by yourselves, right?
Right.
So I think there's just something missing.
Yeah, I think you're right. Are you familiar with Graham Hancock at all?
Yeah, I love his stuff.
He's great. He's gotten a bad rap in some cases where people have tried to paint him as a quack, or a racist, even worse, which is, I think, furthest from the truth. In fact, I don't see.
That's just odd in general. But I think he's asking the question, like, again, what's missing? And I very much believe that those things are much older than even 12,000 years.
Absolutely.
There's this theory, in terms of civilizations. So. Because we know the Earth has had these extinction events, right?
Right.
So there's a theory that we can't, as humans, we can't really even picture a million years in our head, right? Because we don't have history to go back, and so the theory is that there's been multiple civilizations on Earth, and we're just in this one.
Yeah. I think that's what I lean towards too. It's just like, I think the last ice age started getting over 10,000 years ago. I mean, we're still technically in the tail end of an ice age.
Right.
We go back 100 years, and Glacier National Park actually had a glacier that was into Montana, or well into Montana, and it's
inland sea, the whole thing.
Yeah. But I mean, so I go back to the pyramids and stuff like that, and some of those other things were like they're interlocking, right? The interlocking actually has been found in multiple other various parts of the world, and I feel like that was probably just like how we're living in civilization. That was actually happening.
That's right.
Now I just don't know like when that was. If it was 50,000 years ago, if it was 150,000 years ago, I don't know when that was.
Yeah,
but I do know, like just looking at stuff, the wear and tear on some of those rocks. It's not 10,000 years old.
Right.
That's right. Well, you think about that, and that's that like story of like Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, I believe. And they're finding things that are older than that now, and that was buried intentionally.
They're finding human bones older than they thought.
Right. But they found seeds, and they found evidence of agricultural living. So the idea that we just figured this out like 5,000 years ago.
Göbekli Tepe, that was actually buried. Like
it was buried.
Buried that,
but it was buried intentionally.
Correct.
Yeah, it's crazy. But I mean, that for me is one of those places I'd like to go. Probably can't go put your hand on it, but if I could do that, I would want to put a hand on it and just be there for a minute. Because
Yeah,
I think
have you seen the Uncharted X stuff on YouTube?
yes.
He's got a really fascinating one right now where he's talking about that massive labyrinth that they've actually like done LiDAR and that other very sophisticated thing. And in that quote unquote labyrinth that they think they found.
Is this the library of
Yeah. And the indication is that there's some type of large cylindrical TicTac type thing that they can see that is out of place, and it's buried in that spot. I think that's fascinating too. You know, like that's just
LiDAR thing now is really going to open up a lot of
yeah. They're using that in the rainforest right now. They found all these. Apparently, actually, Mexico and South America have tens of thousands of pyramids versus the hundreds that are in Egypt.
Oh, wow. They're finding tons of them all the time in the Amazon as they clear cut all that stuff. They're finding more structures and mounds. There's a very interesting book I'm reading right now that kind of I would highly recommend it. It's called let me just I took I'm a Kindle junkie now, so I do love my books, actual books. But the fact that I can pull up a book in no time flat, let's see, that's not it. UFOs of God, the Chris Bledsoe book is fascinating. His story is pretty weird. Like I still don't know if I believe that, but like it's very, very interesting. I'll tell you my interesting story that's directly connected to that. And luckily enough, let's see, where is it? Oh, I've got every book but.
You got every book but that one.
Everything but. All right. So that book is fascinating. But what was I saying? Back to that sort of prehistoric and what was before this. I think it's pretty clear that we don't understand anything about this planet, frankly. We have such limited ability. And I appreciate what Rich is saying, that they used the Egyptians used the Nile to move those rocks. I just don't see the evidence for that. How? I mean,
isn't that a joke? Isn't
what
that
is
like
it? What is
the Nile? Something.
What's Rich's comment?
Well, they use the Nile, but there's also I have a good friend who's actually his great grandfather, I believe, invented the Lally column. You know what that is? If you have a basement, you've seen it. Pete Lally, if you're out there, what's up?
But just like the Nile, though, like that boat that would have to be used would have to be like the size of a Titanic, and then you'd still load it and unload it. But then, like, where's that boat at? Because like that thing would.
Where's the boat? Where's the evidence?
How do you unload it?
But what I was saying is that these theories, like his father, my friend's father, was studying a lot of that stuff, and he was probably in the 70s, and they were studying this some kind of mud or clay that could be found there, and trying to figure out if they were using that to glide the stones across the landscape, which if you did it cement on cement, it works. But if you're doing it on dirt, I don't think it works, So
for one stone.
Right.
I'm not an expert on any of this stuff. I just I grew up on a farm. I operated a ton of heavy equipment, and to think of moving some of those megalithic, stones, like you would need 40 tractors to move that thing an inch. How much energy is being created with those 40 tractors to just move it a little bit? But then the terrain would have to be perfectly flat, not going up that crazy stuff. So again, like I'm not discrediting it. I just think that why can't we do that today?
Well, there's an scientific evidence thing, which is even the process, the fact that we found dinosaurs is a miracle, because the process takes so long, and it has to be the right conditions, exactly at the right place and time where minerals can preserve something like that. That most things on Earth can never be found because they've turned to oblivion. Like they're not even there for us to find.
I think it's fair to say that there is a good chance that there were civilizations thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of years ago, that were advanced in ways that we don't. When I hear advanced civilizations living under Antarctica, I think of like, oh, they've got flying cars and all kinds of hologram things. That's not what I think they mean. I think what they mean is that they were far more in tune with the planet, right, and their consciousness, and they had technologies being used that were ancient in terms of like you could use sonic sound waves to move some of those stones. Could have been done that way. And I mean, they even allude to these things in the Bible when they talk about who was the fellow with the trumpet that knocked down the walls of Jericho. There was not a guy standing there blowing a trumpet at the wall that fell down. They're talking about audio, sonic waves to knock down structure, to move rock and stone. So to me, I look at those two things and go, I see it. I don't know how they did it. I don't know how it's done. But I think today we're even seeing that they've got sonic weaponry that they're starting to unleash on people here and there. You get your Havana.
And then like, not to get into the conspiracy theory stuff too much, because I mean, all this stuff is
plenty of it.
I see the comments, but it's all fringe. But it's fringe to also say that we moved these things with our bare hands, and I just don't see it. Like, how many people can go in this weight room right now and lift 500 pounds? Like, there's not going to be very many people that can do that. I think of all this like free energy stuff too. Like maybe this other civilization had this free energy thing that we would be killed for today if that's created, because guess what? No one's going to make money off free energy, right?
Yeah. It's a very interesting
things like that. So that civilization or whatever, they could have figured that stuff out a long time ago. But I would also just say, like, there's a lot of things within the pyramid itself that, that just it tells a story, and I think that is a blueprint for some of the things that they're able to see. Like, obviously, there's so many relationships with the sun, the moon, those three specific pyramids. I think they actually might have found another Sphinx not too far away that's perfectly aligned through the LiDAR thing. But I think it's interesting, and maybe that civilization left too, right? Like if they were as good as they were with astrology, all the physics that they would have needed, they would have also needed a blueprint to be as precise as they were with everything that's going on with the pyramid. And it's obviously not a tomb, or it's not a grave or whatever. It could have been free energy type stuff, but also if it's free energy type stuth, how did they create it?
I think one of the thoughts on that is that it was a chemical plant in some use. They've even shown like there's staircases in there of granite that are melted in a way that can only result from chemical dumping being used that way. But like the thought of going, when we think about maybe these civilizations left, I mean, I think for me personally, I go, oh yeah, they left. They just got up and left and flew away into the space. I mean, you could certainly make the case for leaving and just moving to another plane or a different dimension out of the visible spectrum. Okay. And somebody said there's portals. Brianna wants to find the portal where we can find a world without what's his face.
I mean, there's all that stuff too that's in that ancient myth too, of like legitimate actual portals and things like that. And like, again, I don't know if I believe that, but like if we're like living today and we know that a catastrophic event's coming and it's not stoppable, like if they were not able to stop like an asteroid or whatever that created some of these ice ages, then they would, if they had the technology to create all this stuff, they potentially would create something to leave.
We see what the cycle is in terms of technology. If we took today what I have here in front of us to someone in 1920, and that's not even like that far back. So it compounds. So the next 10 years is going to be like the last 50, right? So they could have got so far along with technology, and yet and then they're gone. And it doesn't carry over if they're gone.
I think it's amazing just thinking of like this morning I was thinking of, I grew up in the 80s. I grew up with the old the old command line prompt, computers.
Yeah.
Grew up with those, using computers all my career. And then, now at 45, looking at are computers like going to end my career as an artist?
Right.
Just within 40 years or within even 30 years.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny though, because we were just saying this morning. I keep seeing all these, PDF briefs and blog articles and I look at them and people are putting them up like, this is for just a good read for everyone. And I'm like, it's still, you left all the clod is still in there. Like color scheme and the font and the whole thing is set up. I know it when I see it. I've done it and gone, I can't fucking use this thing. This is crazy. This is just, I would have to rebuild the whole thing myself. But that's that funny part where people still, I don't think will be replaced. I think we will end up collaborating. Hopefully we won't be replaced.
I think it's just going to be an evolution, right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, we're all going to date ourselves here. Like, I don't think our ages are too different. I'm 38. Rod's 45.
Oh, I'm really old.
Yeah, but like, remember in the 90s when floppy disks were out, right?
Yes,
you can only put like 2 files on a floppy disk or a CD. Graduated from
CD-ROM.
The floppy disk to the CD-ROM, burning CDs, and then we did DVDs,
DVD-ROM,
players, DVR. Like, all that stuff is phased out, and that's just
gone.
That's right.
That's literally just in the last 15 years or 20 years, I guess.
I know.
All that stuff's been phased out.
Yeah. And there's a comment we've got here that from Brianna, we are the aliens. And I don't know if you guys have ever heard Michael Masterson, I think his name is.
Michael Masters. Yeah, he's interesting.
Yeah. He's got an interesting theory that what we're experiencing is us from the future. It's a theory. I don't know that I buy it. It's potentially there's possibility, but it's an interesting thought. I think when you get down to it, it's so funny to watch how this whole experience. Did you guys catch the event on the Capitol yesterday? The Capitol steps?
The David Grush stuff.
Yeah.
I was traveling all day yesterday. I had delays, so I didn't.
Yeah. I realized it was on. I caught it about halfway through, and I was like, okay. I mean, there was no bombs dropped, but he did make some really serious statements about.
Yeah, but like. And again, this is the one thing I have against the UFO thing right now. Like, I'm totally open-minded to it, but at the same time, it's like, give us the evidence. Someone leak a video to where like it's indefensible, and I talking out of both sides of my mouth. It's just like, I do believe that there's something happened in the late 40s and 50s where we were able to go to the moon supposedly, and then to where we also created the SR-71 Blackbird. And like,
I was just talking about that
in a very short amount of time. But
the SR-71 Blackbird, compared to anything else that was in the market at the time, is like literally a 1920s car versus today's Lamborghini, right?
So I can take you back, Gavin, to Jack Parsons, what I was saying about Jack Parsons. A very interesting scenario. Now, Jack Parsons died in an explosion in his home lab. And, he was doing some dark, weird shit. And I think that there are forces that you do not fuck with. And my understanding, as I read his biography, but like they left something open when they were dicking around over there out in the desert. They left something open. And that's why right after that, we started getting all these UFO crashes and these occurrences. And there's sort of a connection. And I think the connection to religion and consciousness is interesting because there is like that Bledsoe guy is really interesting. There's another guy called Patrick Jackson. You guys heard of him yet?
I haven't heard of him.
Okay, he's an IT guy from like England or Ireland. I think he's from England. He's an IT guy, but he thinks like an engineer. So he wrote a book, and this was several years ago. I got it on my Kindle because I was like, this is fascinating. What is this sphere haunting system, Earth defense system he's writing about? Is it nonfiction? Is it fiction? It's nonfiction. He wrote a really eloquent, very a little over my head kind of book about what these spheres are, and I won't get into it because it is pretty heavy stuff. But when I got the book on the Kindle, it was like a white paper, like a PDF, and I was like, "What the fuck? I can't read this at night." The white blowing my eyes out, and I was like, "Jesus Christ!" So I went through it. I was fascinated. I thought it all made a lot of sense for a lot of the pictures. He had the evidence, he had the pictures, he had the science, and I reached out to him, which I'm a big fan of that. I'll reach out to anyone. I reached out to him because nobody knew who he was. I was like, "Dude, I just picked up your book." He's like, "You're like the only person that bought it." And I'm like, "Other people will buy it." But we talked for a little while about it. And he told me, this is where I was getting to. He told me at the time, he said, "I am creating an app that uses frequencies, and I've already built the machines to do it." And he was testing them at the time. If you look him up, you'll find more stuff on this. It's interesting. But he sent me a copy of his app. He said, "It's not done yet. It's not ready. Here's a video version of it that you can download and just use it. Try it. See what happens." And so it's this really fucking pitchy, frequency, which now they're talking about with the Skywatchers. We're using dog whistles and all this stuff, which has already happened, guys. This has been happening for years now. So long story short, I tell my wife, she's like, "Will you stop fucking around with that stuff?" And I'm like, no, I'm gonna give it a shot. So go out in the yard, I flip this thing on, and it's specifically like, crank it up, turn your phone on airplane so there's no interruption, and keep your animals away from it. So I do all that. I go out in the yard, I flip this thing on, I let it run for 10, 15 minutes. Nothing happens. I got the binoculars and I got my little infrared scopes out there. And she comes out, she's like, "How's it going, weirdo?" And I'm like, "Yeah, no, I don't know." And she's like, "What's that?" And I looked up and I was like, "What the fuck is that?" And we see some, thing moving across the sky. I'm like, it's probably a satellite. So I reboot the thing, wait, breathe, do sort of a little calm meditation, think positively. We're both out there looking up, and I shit you not, we saw like 25, 30 different lights in the sky come over the house, move in circles, take turns, go places, and just zip off like at different speeds. It wasn't Starlink. And I will tell you, 70% of the time when I go out and do that, shit shows up. It's crazy. It's pretty spooky, But the amount of stuff that's out there that we can learn about is fascinating. I love talking to you guys about this stuff.
I mean, look, at the end of the day, there is a ton of stuff that we don't know, and Bree kind of alluded to it in the comments too, where the ocean is like only 5% explored.
I know.
We can explore literally every part of the moon and every part of Mars, but we can't, and I get it. Like the ocean is vast, and you're working against, water
pressure and all that,
all that kind of stuff. But I do think that's going to advance though, because like all the stuff that they're doing, and again with LiDAR, the advanced satellite stuff that they're able to infiltrate and see visually, like beneath the pyramids and all that kind of stuff. I think that's I would love for that to happen in China, because I know China is like one of these really untouched territories, or they're very secretive about the stuff that they have over there. And I know some of the stuff that they have, at least that people talk about, that's a really interesting country.
Yeah. It is.
The Hall of Records is what is like theorized to be under the Sphinx.
Yeah.
I would love to be alive to see if that is a thing, if they can crack into that and say
someone knows, someone for sure knows. And like I think the Pope or the Vatican, I think there's stuff there that they have where they know about
so
stuff.
much there
but I think they're all shielding some of that information from us, because it just ruins the last 3,000 years of actually documented.
Yeah. I mean,
so there's a go ahead.
No, you go, man.
I was going to say there's a guy that runs the podcast. AJ Gentile runs the Y-Files.
He's a very good one. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I love listening to that guy.
He's great.
So you could go down a rabbit hole of so many things. You talk about the Pope and the Vatican. He has an episode about the chronovisor, where there's a machine that they supposedly used to go back in time and view the crucifixion and
and he's still biased too. Like he kind of plays both sides, like devil's advocate, and I mean, he tells some really good stories on I love his YouTube channel, but then I actually really love his podcast because
yeah.
What I love about it actually is he doesn't run nearly as many ads as what some of these other people do on YouTube. So
yeah, and he's got the new series out of The Basement.
Yeah.
I like The Basement because I don't love the fish thing that he does. I kind of think he could drop the fish bit. But The Basement's really interesting.
I do love how he approaches everything from a standpoint of, I'm going to tell you a story just because it's a really good story, but then we're going to step back and look at it and say, is this actually true? Where's the evidence to back all of this up?
Yeah.
But I know he's a big advocate of the whole, did we actually go to the moon? Hollow moon theory, stuff like that.
I think that's what makes him legit, though. And I just think one of the reasons I was so excited to do this today with you guys and everybody else that wanted to join is because there's so much stuff that's interesting. We don't get a chance in our day-to-day to talk about it. There's still a little, this is a book that I think everybody should read. If you haven't read it, Diana Pasulka.
Yeah, she's good too. I like her.
And when you mentioned the Vatican, she went to the Vatican, and she's really interesting because she's a religious studies scholar, and she has to be careful about. But that original book, and then she's got a couple more books that are fascinating, and another one coming out this year. I find her to be spot on. She introduced a couple of characters in her first book who went under pseudonyms that it later turned out to be Gary Nolan, who I think is another really wildly interesting fellow. He has nothing to gain really from coming out on this stuff, everything to lose. He was one of the people that she went out to this giving field with, which is where the Roswell and Corona, by the way, everyone forgets that there were other crashes at Corona.
Well, also, wasn't the Aztec one down
Aztec?
in that?
Yeah. There were like 3 different crashes out there in the same phase. But she talks about this other fellow who she never says who he is. We now know who he is. And she talks about how he holds like dozens of patents, millions and billions of dollars he's made off these patents, where he apparently is one of those people that downloads information from the universe. He gets it. He's a physicist. He makes it. He sells it. He makes scads of money. This same guy, who happens to be named Tim Taylor, is a doctor, not the other guy from Skinwalker Ranch. Not the other guy. Tim Taylor, did you know that this Tim Taylor has been brought to NASA for all the major launches, and now SpaceX has him at all of their launches. His job is to sit in a room isolated and alone and literally to envision successful launches of crap. That's what he fucking does.
Consciousness.
His whole thing is very interesting. And like, again, I'm somewhat skeptical of it, but it's there, and
it's weird.
I don't know. It's just, at the end of the day, it all goes back to a couple things, and whatever you think is not possible is probably possible.
100%.
And just talking about SpaceX, like everybody told Elon, there's no way you can physically land a space shuttle, a spacecraft, or the engines that depart, and he's just like, I'm gonna figure it out. He figured it out.
Yeah.
So things. I will say too, I'm sure you're a big fan of Art Bell. Like, he's got a lot of really fascinating conversations.
Love
too.
that. When I was
listening to Art Bell.
When we had our first child, I remember being up at night in the middle of the night. I remember actually before our kids, my wife's grandmother used to be up in the middle of the night listening to Art Bell, and she didn't strike me as the type. I was like, what? But like, I used to love that too. And we got a new friend in here, Scott W. He's talking about in 1850, the first ever deep sea internet cable. Yep. And we have come a long way. I just think that obviously things accelerate, I think, over time, but we've also been, I do believe that we have benefited from some of the things that have been kept from us. And there's big money in corporate, there's big money in fossil fuel. I don't think, as Brianna said, it would cause mass panic. I don't think it would. I think what would cause mass panic is those corporations who would lose it all overnight. That's where That's where the holdup is.
And I think that happens regardless too, whether that like this stuff is real or not. Like if you're going to make an advancement that is going to not benefit somebody else that's making billions of dollars, like you have a target on your back because you're going to take.
That's right.
If we could imagine what the world would look like if Nikola Tesla's inventions were actually allowed to come out into the public, and
you don't even have to go
energy.
Yeah, you don't even have to go far to even see examples of, like there was this guy that did this washing machine that didn't use water, and he got squashed out of the picture. There's what was that movie? The car company that came up with all these safety features, and they got him, Tucker. They got him out of the way.
Yeah.
Like it's this is all like historical. It's not like it's like science fiction. It's real stuff that these big companies said, no, you can't do this. This is going to ruin us.
Yeah.
They got rid of them.
Two things happen: they get bought out, their patent gets bought,
yeah,
and then it gets shelved,
right?
Or they randomly get in a car accident, or fall off a building, or fall down some stairs.
Exactly.
Or they take their phone, factory reset it, and a handgun, and then they walk off into the wilderness, never to be heard from or seen again, unless they find the body a few months later, 5 miles from the road, sitting up against a tree with a bullet hole in its head and the gun that they took with them on fire.
Rich has a really funny comment too, and like I've got my own opinion on this. I think it's
good. Okay, look at
it's the fusion scientist thing. It's just like that wasn't that guy that went and killed a bunch of people at Brown University
yes.
Oh, dude, that one's crazy.
Randomly. He was randomly the same person who goes and kills this fusion scientist.
Just right, this one guy.
Yeah, and he was like
that guy,
and he was living in a
warehouse or something.
A storage unit.
A storage unit. Yeah,
Salem, New Hampshire.
Right.
Yeah, it's just like
there's nothing random about that.
Yeah,
but that guy
is that really happening, and we're really believing that. And we can go back and talk about like the Las Vegas shooting and like that whole scenario, and it's just like wow, like I don't know.
Are we talking Manchurian Candidate? Are we talking what? That guy happened to be the shooter. The story about the shooter who killed the Brown University guy.
Yeah.
They were fellow students back in Portugal. And there was some really alarming. In fact, here's an interesting tidbit, and don't take me verbatim on this. This is not a political statement, but it does show you some spooky shit that actually we can look up and verify. Is that what that Brown professor was studying and working with at MIT on MIT as a sidebar sort of community corporation where they were working on that kind of physics and free energy kind of a thing. And they had it kind of locked down and they knew what they were going to do with it. The competition, another firm somewhere in the States, could not crack that code. That guy showed up here, found that dude, killed him. The papers and the evidence from the MIT lab disappeared. They ended up at this other competitor's corporation. And guess who bought that corporation right at the same time?
Yeah.
Donald J. Trump bought that corporation days before that company announced that they had this new shit.
That's wacky.
Yeah.
And that takes you from that Trump media company to Trump energy company, which is now 2 in 1. It's just the thing. I'm not saying it's him, blah, 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 but like the idea that these huge corporate entities outside of the realm of any government oversight have the ability to move freely throughout our society and pick and take what they want, bury what they want is stunning to me. It really is.
Rob says we're shifting. I think we should shift, and I know you guys are. We should probably make this another 15 minutes. But Peter, what are your thoughts on?
Not going anywhere.
What are your thoughts on Antarctica?
We make this a whole other show.
Antarctica. You bring that up because we are Brandarctica.
That's right. We're so close to it.
Dude, I love Antarctica. That's why we named the company that. I'm obsessed with it. I think it's fascinating. I do believe that there were at one time that Antarctica was not on the South Pole, that it was the poles were elsewhere, and that it was a temperate, lush rainforest civilization that is now buried under 3 miles of ice. And I think one of these days they're going to figure that shit out. Do I think the Nazis built a base down there?
Well,
unlikely.
Isn't it fascinating that you're not supposed to like videotape stuff in Antarctica?
Like,
it's fucked up. Laws?
Can't even fly over it. And
can't fly over it. Like if you fly over it, it's a very specific airspace that you have to fly over. Like, like what's the reason behind that?
Well, this is what they're saying. I remember seeing a few documentaries on this. Is that the pact, international pact that they have, means that whatever they do down there, they not only can't leave something there, they can't even disturb anything that goes on there. It's sort of a pact that they have. Even with animals, if animals are in distress, they can't interact with them. They're not allowed to even interact with animals.
I mean, the only animals over there are going to be freaking penguins and.
Well, yeah, but in other words, they're not to interfere.
You can't fly over the penguins. That makes them jealous.
Yeah, right.
I mean, they fly people in
I don't
and
know.
out.
Like to me, it's just crazy. Like again, what's the reason? Like, I understand the logic there, but like, it's not going to be any more colder at 40,000.
I'm sure it has something to do with, like, they're going to say it's national security or something.
Well, I think that there's something probably there,
like Greenland.
There's always, if there's no there, what are we hiding? Right. Why is it so secret if there's no there? I think that this
Antarctica's the Black Pyramid one, right?
Yeah, but there's also one in Alaska.
There's also Mount Hayes in Alaska, right? Mount Hayes.
Yep. I want to go to that.
Like why are people making pyramids? Is it because they're seeing pyramids in the sky and they want to emulate it? Like
cargo culture.
Again, it's multiple regions across across a lot of these countries where pyramids are being.
And how do you get civilizations? Yeah, how do you get civilizations from Egypt and
triangles? So,
well, I mean, I think that brings you back to the fish gods legend, and you've got the 7 travelers throughout multiple cultures around the world who talk about seven travelers, 7 visitors. I believe it was 7. Rod, am I right? Mexico.
I think so.
What's the leader in Mexico? Chichen Itzel, or I can't remember the name.
It's not Montezuma, but it's
Quetzalcoatl
or whatever his name is.
Yeah, tall, white hair, blue-eyed. What the fuck? But these 7 entities, apparently in this fish god lore, it's tied together because you see fish god iconology all over the planet, but from tens of thousands of years apart. Okay, if these people truly had no connection or no way to travel, I mean, what are you doing here?
Do you guys know Joseph Campbell?
Yeah,
J-Cams.
So I love that as a teenager through my 20s. Like all the Joseph Campbell, like Journey into Myth, all that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah,
I was so obsessed with it. The pyramid on the dollar bill has 13 levels to it with the eye at the top, and the 13 arrows in the clutch of the eagle. All of these things all tie in, and he was great at showing how these stories, they're the same story and they're from everywhere.
Yeah, the flood myths too, right? Like the flood myths are in every single religious.
Every single religion has that flood myth, yeah.
They have,
and it all correlates around that Younger Dryas period.
Yeah, and I think that's probably the most obviously that's the most recent whatever it is.
Extinction event,
extinction event or high level extinction event, and so I think that's definitely true. But it's just like, man, I think we all wish. What was the one before that? Was it also a flood?
Right, right, because that's what I'm saying is that we're just looking at something on the surface because that's all that's available to us.
Yeah. We're an eyelash width of civilization in a timeline that we can't even comprehend. On the next show, we'll do who was here first, the Clovis people, peoples from the Adena, I believe they're called, Adena or Dima, from South America came this way, or was it something else? Where in the world? What were the other guys there? The Knights Templar? What the?
No, what were they doing here?
So early.
And I think there was a lot of this dual stuff too. I think
Yes.
this civilization was happening as some of those other people were on the come up too, right? They're just they lived at the same time period, but they were just, again, it's just like us living today, and then you have these Amazon tribes that are still shooting bows and arrows,
Right.
and don't know what a cell phone is, and if they saw a cell phone, they wouldn't know how to do it.
Maybe that's what we're going through right now, though. Maybe there is something else here that's imperceptible to us, because they said that when those massive Spanish galleons showed up in South America, they couldn't even see them because it was so beyond their concept of what reality is that they were unable to actually even physically process it. Maybe whatever's here is something that's so beyond our ability to process. We're only getting bits and pieces, or it's showing us what it wants to. We're supposed to figure it out, but maybe that's what's going on right now, is that we may be at a crossroads of assimilating into, knowing that there are others here that exist in our world that are unlike us.
We're the Sentinel Island.
I wonder if that's part of the whole strategy of the releasing all the UFO stuff in series, is trying to get your brain just going, okay, I can start to comprehend flying objects. Okay, now I can start to comprehend.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, we burned this hour real good. I loved talking to you guys and having the other folks who came along for the ride and had some comments. I hope you found some good books to read. Hunt for the Skinwalker and Skinwalker at the Pentagon are two of my favorites. They're brilliant. James
Disclosure Day. Disclosure Day. Is
I have to see that. Yeah,
that's coming out soon, right? That's
that comes out, I think, this weekend.
Yeah.
I'm very curious. If it's as good as the trailers are, awesome. The trailers were nuts.
Yeah.
Interesting.
With the little cardinal.
Again, a lot of interesting.
We're living in an interesting time.
When they show the red cardinals, guys, and
Yes.
there's that red cardinal bit, and the part about departed souls coming back and visiting us in this time and space as cardinals is a very interesting.
Again, it's to get us acclimated, right?
And then I'm just gonna keep going off on this, but wasn't there the director Stanley Kubrick? Wasn't he died very suspiciously, right?
Yes.
And he wasn't he pretty invested in something like this other? I don't know.
Yeah. There's Stanley Kubrick, and he was apparently, they're saying he was involved in some of the moon landing footage that wasn't real. But then again, I heard a very interesting story about that. The reason they filmed stuff fake was because in case something catastrophic happened, they still wanted to be able to claim that they did it, so that we could win
that actually is believable.
That is believable. But that brings me back to the Jolly West, who's a character from the 60s, LSD, MK Ultra. And if you ever have a chance to read Third Eye Spies, there's also a documentary worth watching called Third Eye Spies. Russell Targ, what's his name? All these people are tied into this subject right now, which is fascinating. So interesting stuff. Guys, we'll do it again. I love this.
This was awesome.
For coming in here. Hopefully no one's ruined their career today.
I know.
I will show you. I will leave you with this gem. Was one of my favorite design projects. It was for one of my very first clients.
Awesome.
What's that?
It's called Lost Time. They were like, we're coming out with this limited beer. It's made with Galaxy hops. I'm like, okay. And so this brewery is located in Woodstock, New Hampshire, and they're right up by Lincoln. And they are right on the location, drive-by, of where Betty and Barney Hill had their incident. Yeah. So when I developed the style,
the first abductee case.
Well, the first documented, well documented, very interesting. Yes. But that's how we did it. And in fact, when we did this design, we actually used the very same car model.
That's amazing.
Now they weren't lifted up in a car, but we had to take a few a few liberties. Just
a few creative liberties there.
But a very fun, interesting story. And apparently
I love it.
the Obamas are executive producing a documentary on that story.
They were an interracial couple.
Yeah.
And this is way back when,
Yep.
That was in the like the 1960s, right?
Yeah.
1960s, yeah. They went on a trip up to maybe Montreal, and on their way back, they saw something in the sky that didn't look right, and followed them. They got nervous. They pulled over. They watched it. It got closer, and then they drove further. They pulled off the road because they saw it come down, and then they ran into a bunch of small people, children looking. I don't know. It's a whole story. I don't know. It's a really weird story because they got into this whole like aliens with black eyes in Nazi, patent leather outfits with capes. And I was like, what the fuck happened to you two? Very strange. But, something happened to those people. Something happened to those people.
I think the most compelling like UFO stuff is that Zimbabwe. Was it Zimbabwe?
Yeah. Burial school? Yeah.
Yeah. That was
because
like how do you fake that? Like how do you get 40 plus kids to lie like that?
They won't lie.
Even the adults witnessed it, Even the adults witnessed it.
There's a lot of good people out there too. I mean, they're not going to lie about that.
And I'm hoping we can get some of them. I'm hoping that this might launch us an opportunity to get a few of these people on the show to talk about some of the technology and some of the ways the future may change for us. There's a couple of guys. It's so funny who you can connect with on LinkedIn. The retired admiral. I don't want to out him.
Yeah. We're trying to actually. This is off subject, but we're trying to connect with Reese Witherspoon right now.
Yeah, she'll be a guest someday.
We both have connection requests. And
retired admiral Tim Archambault, and there's another guy who's a really wonderful human. Lenval Logan is really smart
Peter,
guy.
you guys should reach out to James Fox. Like he seems like he's on the circuit all the time, and like he's got that guy's got a really cool history, and he's obviously focused.
He's a smart cat.
Yeah,
I've been watching him since Go, and I remember when I watched his first one about Virginia, and I thought, oh God, this is ridiculous.
That was pretty jaw-dropping. The first time I saw that one, I was just like, holy shit, like this is crazy. Like crazy in like a good way because he tied it all together and he got so many different angles.
Yeah. Did you see that he re-released it with new interviews and new footage? Yeah, it's wild.
And that doctors came out who potentially operated on the guy or on that subject or whatever. And, there's a lot of he's got a lot of compelling information.
That's right.
And I hope more comes out.
Well, and I think as we will end the show on this note because we've all got to go back to work and we've all got to get up tomorrow, regardless. But we live in an interesting time, and I'm fascinated to share the space with all three of you and everyone else that made it in today. And Brianna, Neil deGrasse Tyson can go shit in his hat.
Oh, come on! I like Neil.
Oh, he's a dick.
I know you don't like him.
Now he's like, yeah. For years, he mocked people. For years, he's mocked the subject and everybody involved. And now all of a sudden, he's like,
he's a very smart, intelligent person.
I don't care for it. I don't care for I don't like the cut of his jib.
His jib.
All right. I can't change your mind.
Well, it doesn't look like Neil Tyson deGrasse's ever going to be on our show.
I wanted him to be on.
Or as I call him, Neil Tyson deGrasse High. For our Canadian friends.
All
right. Everybody have a great day. Gavin, Rod, you're the best.
Thank you very much.
Richard, even though you're a non-believer, and Rob Unger, you're as confused as ever, and I love you for it.
Saw you last night, Rob.
Yeah. Greg, I missed him last night. I totally forgot. And we've got everybody else that was in here today. Anybody I missed, Melissa and the rest of you guys, have a great day. Yes. We'll be back next week with...
That's a great question.
Reese Witherspoon. We'll be back next week with Reese Witherspoon.
I don't think it's Reese.
Not next week. The next.
Just give me one second.
I'll get her on this show. I will
It's
get her.
it's Dagmar Holub.
Oh, Dagmar. She is brilliant. If you don't know Dagmar Holub, I believe her name is. She is a design architect, interior artist. She's like super into I don't know. She's so freaking smart. I don't know what the hell we're going to do with her. She is really an interesting woman. She lives, I believe, in London. She's from Germany. She's a philosophy and art, interior design artist. She's great. Can't wait to talk to her.
Love it.
So, yeah, we'll see you all next week, okay? Thanks again, everybody. Appreciate you.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. See ya.